in our minds and bodies. But it also, as I said, there are some positive things. It makes you alert. That is where the, fight or flight and all of those things come from. But so arousal acts along a spectrum. So you can have low levels of arousal, moderate, right up to high levels of arousal. All right. And so also people have different, if you want to call it arousal thresholds. Some people are easily aroused, and others are not as easily aroused. So those are some of the things that we want to think about. All right, let's move it a little further. So emotional arousal is a process. It's something that happens over time, so it builds up. Basically, it's like you're boiling the pot and it's building up. So what that means, that is the out that we have, the scriptures will tell you that is the way of escape. So it doesn't just bam upon you. It is a sequential process that gives you a chance to deal with it. Otherwise, it would be hopeless. How could we ever deal with this overwhelming intensity if we didn't have some kind of a warning? All right. So the key then is not to wait until the pressure cooker about to fly off the lid to take action, but it's to go before. It's to understand it is a process. So, key trigger. Those of you who remember, again, when we're dealing with bad habits, when we're dealing with that, we talked about the trigger, and that the key would be have clothes on the line, rain set up, to take up the clothes. Right? All right. So our trigger is going to come through one of our senses, something we see, smell, hear, whatever. So I don't want to get into all of the details of this, but really and truly is a release of chemicals. But when that chemical is released, the cortical functioning, this is where your conscious control is reduced. So this is the other scary part. So you see something happens, a trigger goes off, chemicals go, and with that you lose control. The control is reduced. That's where it is. And so then you actually act or find yourself in a position to act. And as we say again, you can have different levels and different types of arousals. So joy, happiness, as you can see, good things are there. It's not only bad. So that's where. Okay, and somebody was. All right. So what then? So what? 100, anytime, please. All right. Somebody has a nice dog. Can they mute him? So what? Apply restraint. Apply restraint. Yes? This horse can run very fast, but you can also control it. Ideally with a bridle, but you can see, obviously this is a trained horse, so you don't need as much. And that is how we are as human beings as well. Some of us need bridle and far more than bridle. Others can be controlled really relatively easily. But if we understand the process by which we become aroused, we can gain control over whether or how it happens. That's the key. That's the key. Is before the action before. All right? And the key is before we start to look at our partners and say, boy, I'm still, just, ignorant. Yeah, let us start with ourselves, please. I know you have tried your best, and I know this person is really incorrigible. It's just impossible. But anyway, you start first. Yes? And if you become emotionally aroused, then you're starting to lose control. Yeah. That's where we go. So the key then is to learn how we can be self-controlled. And then how we can help others then to control the process. That's basically where we want to go. In a relationship, if we have individuals who are able to know what triggers their arousal, emotional arousal, and they can actually watch out for it, try and see how we can avoid it or manage it, then the relationship will work. Any questions so far on this?
Brother Smith?
Go ahead, please.
Right. Just to agree with you in relation to so what, one of the things we oftentimes want to remind folks of, and I may have used this word before in some past presentation about our self-efficacy. And one of the things that self-efficacy speaks to is the idea that I have to see, yes, I can, that I can manage my life, that I have a handle on how my life is going to turn out. One of the problems is that we oftentimes want persons to make adjustment in order for us to do better and to behave better. And we don't oftentimes recognize that we have a large part in um, regulating how our life unfolds. But again, we often want persons to make the adjustment, especially if they were the ones who contributed to why we feel we are in conflict. So taking some kind of responsibility, I think, and that's where the word self-efficacy comes in. And I suspect we're going to look at looked at emotional intelligence already, but there's no way we can talk about conflict management if we don't even remind persons of their own emotional intelligence. But self-efficacy though, that is I do believe it is the foundation for us to start with the process of saying, I have to execute and exercise restraint. I have to do something. A person's bad behavior cannot dictate my response. That I have to decide what my life is going to turn out to be, rather than after I react according to how I feel. I say things like, if I didn't know, and why did I do this, and oh man, you know. And so the idea here, just to again to agree with you, is the fact that persons need to have that conversation with themselves first and foremost before they decide to react according to how they feel.
Amen, brother. Amen. All right. Any other? All right, let's go forward. All right. By the way, this Rossetti has written this High Conflict Couple, this book. Interesting concepts in there. And he was saying, being mindful of your emotional state can help you to avoid unnecessary fights. And that's why we're kind of focusing on some of this as we go forward and looking at, still talking about how real men deal with conflict. But as we had said before, men cover, and will not be because now we say brethren, but men, the implications are also there for everybody, all, both genders. All right, so just to go further down, is that basically we have a sort of baseline emotional state. Everybody has that, right? And when we are in balance, when that is our normal state, assuming that you're in normal mental state, then you can clearly think and you can communicate well, etc. Right? Now, what we're talking about is the arousal now occurs when something knocks us out of this baseline. So you get moved out of balance. All right? And moving out of balance is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be very positive. So, for example, you can get knocked out of your thing to say, hey, hold on, there's danger, run, shots firing, or something, or listen to me, turn off the Netflix and get up and go to the boss work, otherwise you'll get fired. So there can be, when you look at an email that comes, yeah, it can move you out. So it can be positive. However, our performance gets considerably worse once we move past this moderate level. So yeah, moderate things can be worked out. But when you get a jolt that moves you, really shakes you up a lot, then you're not thinking as well. And again, it can be things that are not danger, for example. So that's where a passion, for example, could actually overtake you if you're looking at the sexual arousal. So that's where it is. You don't think as clearly. So all of those persons who are saying, for example, no one, I have this under control. And, I have great self-control until, virgin birth takes place again. So I'm not saying to you that do not underestimate the power of arousals that shows us.
Trevor Smith,
Yes.
what's the definition of an high conflict couple?
What's the definition of a high conflict couple? People
Yeah.
that are constantly in conflict. Yes? If you nenge all day long, every minute is, there is a squabbling, can't agree around things. That's it. Unsettled issues. Yeah, I think that gives you a headline view of what it is that we're talking about. Hope that answers it. Okay, all right. So
May I ask a question, please?
go ahead. Is
I'm
it what we're talking about now?
Yes, sir. I'm new to the platform and I would have probably asked earlier on, but I wanted to know what is meant by a real man, because then that leaves me with the mind. I'm in a state of conflict with my mind as to what is the true definition of a real man. I want to have that understanding, and I promise I won't ask anything else for the evening.
If you stay with us until the end, I promise you will have such clarity that you won't leave disappointed.
With what? With the real man?
Yes. We tell you exactly what a real man is.
All right, sir. I'll be waiting.
It's there, definitely. Okay. Hold me to it, right? But you have to stay to the end, and I hope that I can get to the end.
But if it's that for make me stay, then may I go stay? Please,
beg you. All right. Okay. So all of us will find that we're not thinking as clearly when we get there, right? So once you are off balance, the tendency then is to shift focus to fixing what has thrown us off balance. So you lose a sense of everything else. And that is basically your only goal. So we might actually find ourselves becoming more judgmental or making nasty comments or, things like that, the fly off the handle when we are off kilter. All right, so go back. I think this is a draft from when we were dealing with bad habits, how you break out of the cycle. One of the things is be alert to the trigger warnings so you can know, believe me, you know when you're off kilter, when something not so right. You can pick up the signs. What we are saying is do not. Remember, be self-aware, be self-aware. By the way, that is one of the characteristics of a real man. A real man is in touch with his feelings, with his emotions. A real man knows what's happening to him inside, what's going on in his mind. He's in touch with himself. Sometimes we say that is a woman thing, be in touch with your feelings. Well, real men are in touch with their feelings. They understand what's going on with themselves. They don't just allow themselves to run wild like wild animal. Real men know what's going on and are in touch with their feelings and can pick up signs to give them direction as to what it is that they need to do or what it is that they're about to do. That's the key. So nobody knock your head afterwards and say, boy, I mean, I don't know really what take me. You know. So nobody right? You know very well beforehand. So that's the key. No matter wait afterwards and say, boy, sure, me just, me not understand what really just overtake what? I don't care this. You are in control and you know very well where this is going to lead. Okay, sorry. Real man, come back down, boy. So be alert to the trigger warnings, right? So you know, seriously, rain set up, watch it. Rain out fall. You know it. And the other thing that we spoke about when we talked to break the cycle is to modify or sanitize the environment. What do we really mean by that? I think the example we use, if you are trying to recover from being an alcoholic and you're walking down Radius Road, nobody stops at the bar to go say hello to your friends. The barmaid, hi, how are you? I'm not really drinking. I just came in to say, hey, what you do that for? Why are you doing that? Just stay far. If you know that you and your neighbor have what conflict or whatever it is because you throw trash over there, whatever it is, nobody throw the trash there, so. You know, just change the environment. Move. Sometimes you just have to just get up and run. The Bible says flee. That's it. That's what we mean by modifying the environment. If the environment, if this situation is what is causing the problem, just don't go there. So if you can't resist the temptation, carry somebody with you when you go talk to the person. Just understand that physical changes can make a difference to your ability to resist or to avoid conflict. Okay.
Yeah, and Brother Smith, and the
Yeah.
person living in the same home, I like examples in
Okay.
the home, please.
Okay. So you like to play your music loud, right? And she not like to hear the music. Get a set of headphone. Get a set of headphone. That's a physical environment change. Keeping it real here. Keeping it real. All I'm saying to you is just try and fix the environment.
I want to keep it as close as home as possible because you're dealing with couple conflict.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying to you. Okay. So there we go. All right. And then the payoff. What it is that, as we have said before, behaviors, anything that we do, people are rational. Whether they're making decisions on the basis of good data is another question. But people, based on the information that they have, they make a choice that they think is the right one. So there is a payoff anytime you keep on doing the behavior. So one of the things that we have to start to look at if we want to change things is to look at or examine what is it? Do we really want to bicker and fight every day? Yeah, okay, fine, because I am the man and I want to make sure that you know that I am in charge of here. Yeah, but is it worth it? Suppose you could have a happier relationship by sharing equally and showing that we are partners in this. Would it be worth it? So one of the things that we have to look at then is the payoff for the behavior. What is it that we are getting from the conflict? Yes, somebody might say, we could ever get benefit from the conflict? Yes, you can, because you want to win an argument or you want to show who is in charge. That's it. Or sometimes you just want a stimulation. You're bored and you don't mind a little quarrel. Yes, trust me. All right, so let's move on because we want to deal with the questions coming up. So one of the things then, how can we manage these triggers then? Rain setup, remember? We're looking for these things. So check on your feelings. Don't ignore them. You just know, what happened to me? Why am I feeling like this? What is happening? Yes, don't ignore it. You know something not right. Maybe it's when you wake up or there's something just happen. So ask yourself some questions. Interrogate yourself, but don't do it with any judgment or so. Just ask yourself some open questions, innocent questions, right? Don't bother get defensive or make any assumptions. So how am I feeling? What's going on inside, boss? That's you talking to yourself, right? You're not gone mad yet, but let's talk to yourself a little bit. Yeah? You all right, boss? What's happening? Yeah? Yeah, a little feeling you do, something, you don't know. There's something inside that you feel like, a little anxiety are going. What happened? What do you think could have caused that? What's, get any little news, you're concerned about something? Why you see a little tension? Yeah, man. Yes, there's a little tension with you. What's check out that. What is causing that? Why is you're on edge? Yeah, something that's up. That's what I'm saying. To stimulate, ask the questions what it is. Yeah. And then you might find that it's something that happened. Is what he said to you, or she said to you, or you don't know, is that text you get? What is it that make you feel this, this little anxiety or this little angst or this, whatever it is that you're feeling? Find out, ask yourself, get to the core of what it is, why you feel the way you feel. Because we know when something different. And especially if it starts to manifest in our bodies. We start to breathe like a faster, pumping, heart pumping, sweat, all sorts of different things can come up. But interrogate yourself so that you can know that, yes? And nobody getting to the point now where I say, boy, I mean, I know what take me. Yes, you know, because you never do this work. Okay, so here we go now. If you have a leaking roof, right? And rain come down and wet up your bed. One of the things we can do is, watch out the bed wet up again. Hang out the things and, that's one approach. Another approach is that you can take steps to stop make the bed get wet. You can, you might not have the money to fix the roof, but you can put some, pan on it or move the bed. Yes. So all I'm saying to you, that's the same that I'm using that as a sort of explanation as to how we have to go through life as well. Is that we can find our life where it's going there, that our bed wet. And what I'm saying equivalent is that there's a conflict. Here we go again. Here we go again. There's a book called Games People Play, which is exactly that. So the cue come, we're supposed to start. If you say this, then I'm supposed to say this, and it will have a conflict and we can go along wonderfully. And that's it. It's a game where we play. This cue come up, you play your part, I play my part, we play the part, and it just goes on. We actually live our lives like that, or we can stop being defensive. And as I say, when the cue come up, you say, no, I'm not play that game there again. Because I don't like the conflict thing. So we can either do that or be the puppet. Be the thing where every little movement, you have to respond. And there's an option, as I said, to modify the environment. In this case, move the bed, put pan over it, get plastic, do something. So that is what I'm suggesting that we do with our relationships. Instead of dealing with the conflict all the time, suppose we focus our energy on encouraging expression of joy, fun, excitement. So the time when you're going to play the game of quarrel, just find another game to play. Just watch a game together. Let us watch movie. Let us, go plan something, do something together that produces harmony instead of fighting. So, as Brother Andrew would say, no, thank you. When the partner comes up with something that's supposed to stimulate a quarrel, no, thank you, not today. We'll play another game. Yes? Let us play another game. That is the key, right? Change the mindset. So let us look at some of the environmental mindset changes. One of them is the first thing, again, we have to work on ourselves first. You have to decide in your mind whether the relationship is worth it or not. Why are we in this? We are in a relationship for mutual empowerment. We are in a relationship and many benefits like that. We'll talk about some of them later on. If we treasure those things while we are in the relationship, then put that at the forefront. So if what it is that we want to get, the investment that we have in the relationship and the return on that investment is important enough, then put that first. So whenever the conflict, so sometimes you can give up your right in order for that important factor to take place. So that is the mindset that we have to have. And if both parties have that mindset, then we have a good chance of dramatically reducing the conflict. Because sometimes when we put that first, we will learn to swallow our spit. I don't know if we might have people that are not from Jamaica to understand that. We might just need to just, just stop out with it. Just, it's all right. Allow that. Let that pass. Let us not get into that. But that's key. Somebody has a mic open. If you don't mind, if you can close it for me. Right. Just want to enhance the quality of our broadcast. Okay, I've done it. So that's the first thing, is the mindset. Everybody needs to go into mindset. If this is important to you, then protect that, treasure that. Just like how you wash your car 3 times a day, treasure the relationship. All right. There's a concept of conscious togetherness. What does that mean? Is that, we can be in the same house, the same thing. We might even be on the same bed, but we're not really together. In that it's just physically there, but there's nothing, there's no connection. So one way forward is to be actively aware of your partner. Kind of know where the partner is, where he or she is, what they're doing. So you don't have to be in constant conversation or whatever, but there's an awareness of what's happening, and they are aware of what you are doing, and so on. And so that awareness produces a connection, and that connection is important, because when people are connected, they're not as willing to injure each other, whether it is mentally, psychologically, or physically. So connection is important. That's where we want to go. So make sure that there is a conscious togetherness where you are aware of what's going on with the partner. You can find out emotionally where they are they okay? Is there a concern that they have? All of those kinds of things matter. Other thing would be to share experiences, do something together. Find ways that you can do things together. Whether it is a walk, do anything, just find out what it is. Make the sacrifice if it is a sacrifice, but you will have joy from it. And guess what? We normally say, fake it until you can make it. So if it is a torture for you initially, after a while, you will get used to it. So find ways to do things together. And the shared experiences can just be simply what you talk about. Yes? So we get to the next, the conversations.
Then we cannot keep very next moving forward schemes such as for Europe.
Okay, I'm going to mute. I'm trying to mute this person, but it's not. I'm having a challenge. Admin, can you help me? Okay. All right. So what we mean by accurate expression is to say what you really mean. One example would be that the person, you wanted your partner to come home on time, and the person didn't come home on time, whatever it is. You say, you're always late. Okay. Tonight is a mute night. Right, so you say, well, you're always late. And why are you always late? Is that what you really mean? Not really. What you really mean is that, I'm so disappointed. you know, I was looking forward to spending some time with you. I really needed your company. And, you know, I'm really disappointed that you weren't able to come on time. That's what you really mean. You know, and that's one of the things that we have to start to do now is to decode language, to find out really and truly, and to speak in decoded language that the person can mean. So while you're quarreling and saying blah, da, da, and you know, virtually, you know, cursing out first, really and truly what you're expressing is a disappointment. That really, and what if you could then be honest and just say that? Wouldn't it make a huge difference? Darling, you know, oh boy, I'm so sorry that you are coming in at this time. I really was looking forward to it. I really was looking forward to sharing some time with you. I was feeling down and I needed you to be here. What would that say to the offender, if you want to call him that? What would that say to the offender is that, wow, I feel, I'm sorry as well. I really wish that I could have been here for that moment because that would have been so great. Instead of being defensive, what you mean by I had to work? What do you want me to lose the job? So you start to get up. You understand the dynamic of that little conversation where if the person could actually say what they meant, it could be an intimate moment instead of a quarrel moment. So that's key. Okay, all right. So on both sides, please just let's work through this. And look, I would suggest that individuals look also beyond their experiences or you know, what it is that they're seeing. And just take on board some of what we're suggesting here because that's what we're trying to do is make a difference. Right? Are there outliers? Are there situations in which this doesn't apply and the person does want to control? Yeah, maybe, but I'm not going there. I'm only saying to you that we need to deal with what we can deal with. And if you are speaking and you can speak your truth from your honest feelings, then it will make a difference. If you start that process where you are speaking honestly, non-judgmentally, and you choosing good timing as well, that maybe also that the person may not say something as the so-called offender is coming in, but wait until they settle down, until there's a good, you know, a reasonable mood where they can hear you, then you can raise the issue. Sometimes people are not in a teachable moment, in the mood, and you just going to just stir up conflict. So this is a two-sided thing. Okay, where one person, you know, you're sharing roles as a matter of fact, you're reversing the roles. One of them is speaking the truth, talking about really and truly what it is that they are feeling. And the other one is saying, okay, I understand, I accept what is being shared. It doesn't mean you agree. Doesn't mean you agree. You don't have to agree, but at least I hear you and I hear about what you're saying. That's the validation that is required. That the person feels heard, feels understood, and feels as if you care. That's important. All right. So, and as I say, no, that is an exchange. Then at different points in time, you are sharing, you are being validated. The other person is sharing, you are validating them. So some of these conversations can also be that you analyze problems as they arise. If something comes up that could cause a problem or there is a conflict, then you discuss it. So why are we fussing about this? What is causing this? What is underlying this issue that we are having now? Discuss it, analyze it, find out what is it, and then seek solutions together. So how can we fix this? How can we make sure that this don't happen again? You have your ideas, tell me, what is it? Let me hear yours, and then we exchange and we can decide to move forward. That's what we mean by healthy conversations. We talk about the physical changes as well, where you move, you know, you have a little problem, maybe A little walk, they say, makes a huge difference. See, these persons go out and buy a smoothie. Right? Yeah, something, change the dynamic, move. Physiological change will also change mentally. So it might be that you have to leave the room, go somewhere else, for a walk around, go to the kitchen, go drink some water, do something. But just make sure that you understand that you can, in fact, change the environment, change your routines. It might be, again, that there is a problem building up because, one person just come home and sit down on the couch and watch TV, and the other person have to do everything. And bitterness builds up. And because there is not the honest conversation, it comes out as quarreling. You don't do anything in the house, right? Another approach could have been that, look, I understand the pressures and so on, but I must tell you the truth is that when I am left to do everything, and you are relaxing, I don't feel valued. I really would feel valued if you would assist. Yeah. So we're not cursing out lazy, worthless man. It's not that. It's really more about, hey, let me tell you what's happening with me is that I'm here. And it may be that I have to do something about my thoughts, but I must confess that at this point in time, I feel undervalued. I would really prefer if you could help. Maybe you could just take out the garbage. Just want to feel as if we're partners in this. That's an honest sharing, right? So those are some of the things that we can talk about.
Brother Smith.
How would that be validated? Let me just finish it 1 second. How would that be validated? Okay, I hear you. I understand. So maybe one of the things that happened is that is also how I was brought up. That my mother did everything and my father didn't. So yeah, I'm glad that you raised it. So let us look at it. So that's a honest sharing, accurate expression, and a validated response. Go ahead.
How do you deal with a situation of deception from the beginning of your marriage, and then 8 years further down in your marriage, you find out that your child is not yours?
Different conversation.
Different conversation.
I can't. Yeah, I'm going to be thrown off my script right now. But it's a different. But we have Brother Andre, who might, it depends on the time, might actually be able to look at some of it. That to me, though, let me just be honest up front. I'm talking about honest conversation. That kind of situation is not going to be easily dealt with in a public forum like this. That sounds like more like a one-on-one, because then you have to start to get into some of the underlying things. So I would suggest seriously that you get in touch with Brother Andre, who is able to deal with that in a different context. You could understand that though, because we would have to get into some nitty-gritty and all that kind of thing. And so it can't be dealt with adequately here. All I'm going to do is cause more confusion. Right? So I'm not dodging the question. I just know that it is not an appropriate response.
No, man, thank you for your referral. That shows up your maturity and level of experience.
Okay, cool, thanks. All right. Here's the other little thing. I have to watch my time as well. Okay. Is accept what is not likely to change. Man, if maybe again, this is another place where we could have just stopped for the rest of the session. This is not going to change. This is a reality. Sometimes we just have to change our script, change what is going on in our mind, because this is a reality that we face. What we're going to do about it, that is not something that can be changed or is likely to be changed. So I might need to just find a way to deal with it differently, to process it differently in my mind. This is what it is. As they say, no, it is what it is. And I have to make sure that I find a way to be able to accommodate it, to live with it without it causing internal conflicts in me, because that can then build up again. So the key here to me would be to look at some of those things that this is a reality. This is a reality. I would have preferred it not to be so, but this is how it is. How can I adjust my mindset? How can I find ways to live with that reality? That's the key. And if we can get there, a lot of the tension, a lot of the frustration that we, walk around with will in fact subside, will be reduced. A lot of the problems that we have is baggage that cannot be disposed of. This is just a reality. And we just have to understand, how is it that we deal with that? How do we accept this? This is a fact. What do we make of that fact? Do we continue to have it built as a mountain in front of us? Or do we try to find ways around it in our minds so that we can live at peace with the situation? Brother Andre.
Yes, indeed. I like that about you have to either change the script, because one of the things we need to remember is that sometimes when we put our best foot forward in trying to bring about some type of resolution to any type of issue, you have to understand that just because you come clean doesn't going to make the other person clean.
I love that.
And seriously, sometimes we just have to understand that, listen, they may not be where you are also. Okay, they may have other attending issues and baggages that. And so the honest conversation that you thought, or healthy conversation, literally is coming from, is very one directional. It is coming from the person who is trying to resolve an issue, whereas the other person may have too much context, and you might just be a trigger to those contexts that they are struggling with. And so you can put your best foot forward, but there are times, just saying, there are times when it, as you say, you just have to accept rather what is not likely to change, because that's not where the person is at this point in time. And so it's important to note that's not where they are at this point in time. That's a critical thing to remember, because you can try again, maybe a week after.
Right.
So you have to learn to choose your battles too.
Right. I want to double down on that last point about the expectation going forward. That while this is so what it is, the key now though, here's the key. When we're trying to change the script, the script can't be, okay, so that is what I have to live with. So that is how you are going to be. Well, I have to find an equal and opposite reaction that I'm going to feel good now. So, okay, fine. I have a one-on-one, So you have this bad thing that I have to live with. Well, you live with my bad thing. That's not the answer. That's what I mean by changing the script. And so really and truly, what you need to do is to be a model of the change that you would want the person to exhibit. So if let us say that there's a situation where you're not reconciled, be a model person. Be the kind of person that the person would want to be reconciled with. Don't get bad and terrible, because, okay, fine, I'm not reconciled. So let me just, be as bad as I can be. No, that's not the idea. The idea would be to be that person that would invite reconciliation. So yeah, it's not equal badness now because of the situation. It is really and truly be the model that you would want them to do. So let us move on. So somebody asked, I'm trying to make space for the discussion afterwards. Somebody asked, what is a real man? So these are some of the real men things. If you were in the first session, you would realize that these were some of the situations that we ask men to adopt if you are a real man. So, but I'm saying no, if you do the things that I've spoken about so far, in terms of being aware of the triggers and fixing up the environment and recasting what it is that you want out of the relationship, then there are some payoffs. And this is what real men enjoy. So I'm answering the question that was asked, what is a real man? These are some of the things. So real men treasure relationships and make every effort to preserve them. They're not about, let me just even use one of them, gal in a bungalow. They're not abusing, they're not just using people. They don't just see others as, something to be used. Yeah. So that's basically one of the things that we have to look at is how do we look at relationships? How do we see our partners? Are they lesser? Are they, basically our slaves? Do we own them? That's one of the things we talked about already. So my woman, and if in the dating situation, if she says, okay, fine, I'm not comfortable that I want to share my life with you. No, you can't go. So there's a fight, there's first kill yourself, kill you. Yeah, if that is how you view relationships, then I think that you're not a real man. So a real man understands that people are what make up relationships. And people are humans, have hearts, have feelings, are sensitive, have needs. All of those kind of things are important. So if you take that into consideration, then you can become more real, right? So that's one of the signs to me of a real man, that they want to treat people in their relationships with kid gloves. Love them, care for them, handle them with care. Also, create an environment in which you protect them and help them to be the best that they can be. One of the things that we have to understand about relationships, I say it all the time, is that a relationship is like going into business and you have a partner. So you have an investment partner. Why are you having this partner? Why are you going into business? Is it for them to carry you down and for you to be worse off than before? I don't think so. So that's the same thing with a relationship. With a relationship, you go into the relationship in order to be better. Both of you want to be better. Both of you want to be empowered. Both of you want to be lifted out, to be better than you could have been by yourself. That's what it is in a relationship. If you want to call that cynical, but that is it. So I am only going to get myself hitched to a partner that can help me to rise. Am I going to look? Are you going to go into business with somebody who will carry you down and you have your baggage all the time? No. I want to be entered into a relationship where both of you can improve and be better, achieve more. It is. So why should you not try to empower your partner? Why shouldn't you not ask questions about what it is that they want? What are your aspirations? How can I help you? All of those things should be what it is I'll be talking about in terms of dating. Those are the questions that people need to ask. How can you help me to get to where I want to go? And have a relationship with me if I'm going to not frustrate you from getting your goals. Go ahead.
Yeah, but this is very edifying. But and you, I'm glad you're saying both. And you're using the word treat and help. I don't want to think I'm playing the devil's advocate, but I've
Devil
had
brother.
I've had experience